Nolan Arenado might be traded this season. Yes, you were hearing that correctly. The best third baseman in Major League Baseball might be on his way out in Colorado. There have been talks that the GM was interested or at least open in trading Nolan this offseason. Nolan came out and basically said, you can quote this, if they don't want me here, get rid of me. Either get rid of me or get players for us to win right now. Those words carry weight. He wanted them to be heard. And because of the situation going on in Colorado right now, we got to talk about teams that could possibly get Nolan Arenado in a trade this year. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 8 teams that I think can legitimately trade for Nolan Arenado this year and add the best third baseman in Major League Baseball to their roster. And I want to give a quick shout out before we get going into this to another MLB YouTuber by the name MLB Real Rob. He made a very similar video to this talking about possible places for Nolan Arenado to be traded. Because I'm doing a similar video today, I said I'm going to shout you out. It was a really good video, really well done. So go show him some love. He's at around 1,200 subs now. Try to push the guy to 2,000 today. As always, if you guys do enjoy my video, make sure to leave a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts and opinions. Will Arenado be traded this offseason? Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Always talking baseball over there. And if you want to buy any tickets to any sporting events, SeatGeek is your place you need to go. Use the code Giraffe. Save yourself $20 off your first purchase. And for the last plug of the video, gonna be at Mets Fan Fest tomorrow from the 12 to 2 p.m. session. So if you're there, make sure you say what's up. I would love to meet you guys. Now let's talk about the teams that Arenado could possibly be traded to. First one on my list that scares me the most is going to be the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves have an absolutely loaded farm system, and similar to the case with Mookie Betts and the Boston Red Sox that I talked about a few months ago, they probably have close to the best package to offer the Rockies for Nolan Arenado. They have a lot of guys that are basically going to be MLB ready in the near future, or some guys that are currently MLB ready that they can offer. They lost Josh Donaldson in free agency. Austin Riley is pretty much their third baseman as of right now, along with Johan Camargo. While those guys can be solid players, of course you'd prefer Nolan Arenado over them. He would make their team without a doubt the guaranteed favorite in the National League to make it to the World Series. He would be huge for them. What I expect the Braves to give back in this trade would be a pretty decent amount, even though Nolan Arenado can eventually opt out pretty soon. I think you would have to see either Pache or Waters be traded, and I understand this is a lot, but that's what you're going to need to get one of the best players in the league. So Pache or Waters, then they're going to have to give some pitching up. So you can give a combination of maybe Sean Newcomb, Ian Anderson, Kyle Wright, Bryce Wilson, maybe Austin Riley's on his way out to fill that third base hole for the Rockies, even though they could go Brendan Rodgers, but he's coming off injury. And then probably a catching prospect as well, so you could go with Wilson Contreras' brother William or Shea Langoliers. Braves have a lot to offer, and I think they probably have the best package for the Rockies. Just a matter of whether they want to give up what the Rockies are asking back for, with the possibility of Nolan Arenado being able to opt out. It's really what it comes down to with all these teams. Do they want to give up the risk for the possibility of Nolan Arenado to opt out? Because that's a real possibility, and that's also what the Rockies are scared of too. The second team I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Rockies fans, you want to look away. This one's gonna hurt because you'd be trading him in division, you'd be trading him to a rival, and you'd be making one of the best teams in baseball significantly better by giving them Nolan Arenado. For the Dodgers, this is an easy trade. You make it no matter what. Arenado will not opt out in Los Angeles. He's gonna be getting paid $30+ million a year. He's a California kid. I can guarantee you that if he gets traded to the Dodgers, he's not leaving. So that might hold the Rockies back from doing this, even though technically he can opt out and just sign with them, so why not at least clear out their farm system a little bit? But it's tough when you're trading in division like this. The Dodgers have a loaded farm system like I mentioned, and they do have some MLB ready players. You could ask for Alex Verdugo possibly. Probably gonna ask for Gavin Lux, although you're not getting them. But it seems more likely that you'd get Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Hybert Ruiz, Cody Hose or Hosey, not sure how to pronounce it, but he's a third base prospect in the Dodger system who looks pretty solid. They have a lot of young players that are MLB ready or MLB type players that I think would really help out the Rockies. Just a matter of if they want to pull the trigger inside the division. That's a tough decision to make. I'm glad I don't have to do it. Third team I want to talk about, Philadelphia Phillies, again in the National League East. Pretty much every team in the National League East could use a third baseman, but the Mets and the Marlins really don't have a lot to offer without making their teams already worse than they already are. The Phillies are a team that definitely could use a third baseman. That's a huge weak spot in their lineup. So weak that they might actually call up Alec Baum, who's a top prospect in Major League Baseball. I believe he was ranked as the top third base prospect in the league. They might call him up at the start of the year, and he might be their third baseman from opening day. And adding Nolan Arenado to that lineup already filled with a lot of really good bats in JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins. You've got Andrew McCutchen, you added Didi, you got Gene Segura there. That would make the Phillies a much scarier team and make the fourth place possibility less realistic. Now, if you do get Nolan Arenado and you're the Phillies, you're going to be giving up a lot. You've got Alec Baum, who I just mentioned. He's going to be going to Colorado in that trade. They're definitely going to be asking for him. And of course, the Rockies always want want pitching, and I think Spencer Howard, who's their top pitching prospect, would also be headed out there. Will the Phillies be willing to give up that much for Nolan Arenado? I think they would be. Do I think it's the right decision? I also would do it, but the thing that's always going to scare teams, and it's also going to scare the Rockies, if you're giving up as much as you say you are, you're going to need to make sure that Nolan Arenado is going to be staying there for this foreseeable future. Are the Phillies willing to risk it for that by giving up Alec Baum, who's basically MLB ready and a top prospect, along with Spencer Howard, who's a top pitching prospect in the game? Tough decision. Again, glad I don't have to make it, and fingers crossed the Phillies don't get it. Please stay out of the NL East. The team that I think people around the league thinks has the best odds to get Nolan Arenado is the St. Louis Cardinals. They traded for Matthew Liberatore recently with the Tampa Bay Rays to grab some more prospects to help probably that package to get Arenado. They need a third baseman. Matt Carpenter's not the answer, and they have a lot of young players and prospects that can fill what the Rockies need. You've got Nolan Gorman, who's a third base prospect, who's kind of the guy in waiting right now. He'd be going back to Colorado in this trade, you'd assume. Matthew Liberatore, the guy I just mentioned from the Rays that they got in a trade, top 100 prospect in the league, he'd also be on the way out, you would think. Rockies need catching. Cardinals got a lot of them in the minors. There's 3 guys they could go between. I think it's like Andrew Kisner, Herrera, and Julio Rodriguez. And then they also have Dakota Hudson and or Carlos Martinez, who are younger arms at the major league level who are ready to be traded right now. If you're getting a guy like Nolan Arenado, you have no problem parting ways with these guys. It comes down to the Cardinals, just like with every single one of these teams. Are you willing to give up these many prospects for the possibility of Nolan Arenado to just opt out in a few years? That's the scariest thing with him, and that's what making these trades so hard. It's not that Nolan Arenado isn't wanted. Everybody around the league wants him. It's just how much are you willing to give up? Because the Rockies are asking for a lot, knowing that there's a chance he might opt out. Let's head out west. Let's talk about the Texas Rangers, who of course were in the market for a third baseman this offseason. You heard them talking about Anthony Rendon. You heard maybe Chris Bryant. You heard maybe Josh Donaldson. They got none of them. So maybe they go after Nolan Arenado. The problem is they don't have a lot of guys to give up. And if they want Nolan Arenado, they're going to have to give up some of their top guys in the farm system. Josh Jung, #1 prospect in the organization, came from Texas Tech last year in the draft. Big dude, absolutely rakes at the plate. I watched him in the College World Series. I love the way this guy plays. I think you'd have to give him up to the Rockies, and I think the Rockies would be glad to take him. Maybe you give up Colby Allard, who's a major league ready player right now, but I think that the Rockies probably still go more in the farm system direction. You've got Sam Huff, who's a catching prospect, top of their organization. You've got Hans Kraus and Cole Winn, who are pitching prospects that are also very enticing. The Rangers are a weird team because they could definitely use Nolan Arenado, but they have a very weak farm system. So are they willing to basically completely ransack it to get Nolan Arenado right now and make that team better immediately? Or do they want to take a chance and take a risk with the guys that they have and kind of build that farm system up a little bit? To me, I don't see the Rangers happening, but they definitely have a package that can make it interesting for the Rockies. Now, these final 3 teams that I have here are a little bit on the outside looking in. I don't think that these teams have a legitimate chance of trading for Nolan Arenado, but I think that they have enough to give, and it would be an interesting move. Like, I could see it. I just don't think it's realistic. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I mentioned this opt-out with Nolan Arenado. If he gets traded, he has an opt-out, which could be interesting to the Tampa Bay Rays because, let's be honest, Nolan Arenado, if he goes to the Tampa Bay Rays, is not going to be staying there for his entire career. He will opt out. Knowing this information as the Rays could actually be beneficial to them. They know that they could get a player for 1 or 2 years who's going to be at an elite level, playing the position as a top 5, top 10 player in the league. While they're a competitive team, while they're a playoff team, they can make a huge impact right now. It's a really bold statement. I don't think the Rays will do it. I don't even know if it's on their radar, but it could make sense. Now, they would have to probably give up Shane Baz and Brent Honeywell, some combination of those guys, maybe some MLB ready players, maybe Ronaldo Hernandez, who's a catching prospect. I'm not sure the exact pieces that they would give, but they have a loaded farm system. They can part ways with a few guys to get Nolan Arenado. Another team in need of a third baseman badly is going to be the Washington Nationals. As of right now, it's pretty much going to be Starlin Castro and Asdrubal Cabrera and maybe Howie Kendrick playing third base for them this year, with the possibility of Carter Kieboom coming up and playing third base as well. Not a strong choice there. I'm not a huge Carter Kieboom guy. I know around the league he's kind of highly regarded as a prospect, which actually works in the favor of the Nationals because you could get Nolan Arenado, stick him at third base, Anthony Rendon, and you could trade Carter Kieboom, again, highly touted prospect in Major League Baseball. You could trade Jackson Rutledge, who's a highly touted pitching prospect in their organization. Looks like he could be a nice little player. And then you maybe throw in another arm that's kind of like mid-level in your system, a Will Crow, a Denneberg. I don't think the Nationals have the best package by any means, but I think that they have enough to make it interesting to the Rockies. But at the end of the day, this one's on the outside looking in as well. And then the last and final team, number 8 of today's video, is going to be the Chicago White Sox. Now, hear me out. The White Sox can make this happen. The White Sox have the pieces that would be interesting for the Rockies to make a trade with. Obviously, with Arenado, you stick him at third base, you move Moncada back to second base. While he looked better defensively at third than he did at second, you make him move for Nolan Arenado because that team with Nolan Arenado in it is truly scary and is definitely a playoff contender. So if they were to get Nolan Arenado, what would they have to give up? I think Reynaldo Lopez is going to be a guy that the Rockies are going to want to check in on. While the hype around Reynaldo Lopez has definitely plummeted since he's gotten to Chicago, I still think he has something there. Like, watching this guy pitch, there's sometimes where you go, wow, he's on, that's what we expected. But then other times where you scratch your head and go, who? Huh? How? I think Nick Madrigal ends up being traded if you get Nolan Arenado. You'd move Moncada to second, which kind of blocks Nick Madrigal, and as talented as that kid has shown that he can be as a player, if you're getting Nolan Arenado, I think you have no problem giving up Nick Madrigal. You know what you're getting in Arenado, which is an MVP type player. Nick Madrigal looks like he's going to be great, but he's going to be an MVP type player for you in the next couple years? I don't think so. And then they also have a prospect by the name of Zach Collins, who is a catcher first baseman. Honestly, more of a first baseman than he truly is catcher, but he's got a pretty good bat, and he's a pretty highly touted prospect. Again, the Rockies need someone behind the plate. They've been rocking with like Tony Walters and Chris Iannetta and all these other band of just absolute no-name guys behind the dish. Zach Collins is about as close to MLB ready as you can get. They'd be getting 3 guys right now who could help that major league team roster, along with freeing up some money by losing Arenado. Interesting trade. Do I think any of these will happen? Probably not. My guesses are that Nolan Arenado does not get traded this year, but if he does, there's a lot of teams out there that would love to have him, and the Rockies could definitely get a lot back to help improve that farm system, help improve that team for the future. It's just, what direction do they want to go? They're close. They're close. They just need pitching. So I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. Do you think Nolan Arenado gets traded this year? Do you think he stays on the Rockies for the full season, or do they send him out somewhere? Remember to leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. We're always talking about baseball over here. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Remember to check out MLB Real Rob on YouTube. Did a similar video to this. Go show the guys some love. Really good quality stuff. I think that's where I'm going to end it today. I'll be at Mets Fan Fest tomorrow. Again, like I said at the beginning, 12 to 2. So if you see me, make sure you say hello. I'll take a picture, meet with you guys. I don't care. I love meeting fans. But I think it's time to wrap up the video right here. You guys know the drill. YouTube recommends you watch this video, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I do appreciate you, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.